You know that feeling when you sense something huge is just around the corner, but you can't quite put your finger on it? And then, bam, everything changes seemingly overnight. Well, that's exactly what's happening with AI right now. This isn't some far-off future we're talking about. No, we are living through a massive, sudden shift. And today, we're going to unpack it all using a simple but honestly a brilliant metaphor.
See, this isn't science fiction anymore. This is happening right now, as we speak. The long, quiet preparation phase, that's over. The transformation has already started. That sizzle you're hearing, well, that's the sound of our professional world being reshaped in real time.
Okay, so let's really get into this idea of the popcorn moment. It is the perfect way to understand what's happening. Just think about making popcorn on the stove. For the first few minutes, there's just silence. It feels like absolutely nothing is happening. Then you hear one little pop, then maybe another, and then suddenly it's just a complete explosion of activity. That is exponential change. It's not some slow, steady, predictable line of progress. It's a sudden, system-wide transformation. And this timeline, well, it really puts it all in perspective, doesn't it? For years, all this groundwork was getting laid. Data was being collected. Algorithms were getting better and better. That was the oil heating up in the pan. Today, we're at the pop point. And the really wild part is that the forecast isn't for a decade from now. It's for the next 100 to 200 weeks. We're talking 2 to 4 years for a complete and rapid transformation of how we all work. It's happening fast.
So, what's really causing this whole popcorn moment? Well, the answer is a fundamental, game-changing shift in what our machines can actually do. We are literally witnessing the end of what you might call machine stupidity.
This right here, this is the monumental shift. For decades, computers have just been really powerful, but really rigid calculators, right? You had to give them exact step-by-step instructions. But now, AI can actually observe our patterns, it can understand context, and it can learn our workflows. It's making the leap from simple calculation to actual comprehension.
And this is the real benefit. Just think of all the boring, repetitive digital chores you do every single day, sorting through emails, formatting documents, re-entering the same data into different systems. As machines get smarter about all those patterns, they can take care of all that digital friction. And this doesn't replace us. It frees us up. It liberates us to focus on the stuff that humans are great at: judgment, creativity, and finding meaning in our work.
Okay, so if machines aren't just stupid tools anymore, what do they become? This is where our whole relationship with technology gets a major upgrade. We're moving away from that old master-servant model to something way more collaborative. So we can reframe our entire relationship with AI into these two key roles. On one side, you've got ambient intelligence. Think of this as like a helpful companion that's always there. Maybe it's automatically organizing your research notes while you're taking them. Then, on the other side, you have augmented intelligence. Now, this is more like a mentor. This is the AI that can analyze those notes and suggest connections that you might have missed, closing that gap between what you already know and what you could know. But here's the thing. For this new relationship to actually work, we have to trust it. And that's where a framework like PACT comes into play. The AI needs to be personalized. It has to know your goals. It's got to be adaptable, learning and evolving as your projects change. The interaction itself needs to be conversational, a real dialogue, not just you barking commands. And maybe most importantly, it has to be transparent. It needs to explain its reasoning, just like a good mentor would, instead of just spitting out orders. So we've got smarter machines, we've got a new, more collaborative relationship with them, but what's the ultimate payoff here? It's not just about getting more done faster. The real potential is something much deeper. Just look at this number for a second. Let it sink in. 4,000. That's roughly how many weeks we get in an average lifespan. That's it. It's a finite, incredibly precious resource when you think about it like that. And that, right there, is the real goal of this whole technological shift. It isn't just about efficiency or productivity. It's about reclaiming our most valuable asset. What if AI could compress the time it takes to gain wisdom? What if it could help us learn things in our 30s that might have otherwise taken until we were 60? It gives us back time. And what do we do with all that extra time? We get to explore. AI can analyze patterns in our work, in our lives that are completely invisible to us. It helps us discover our unknown unknowns. The skills we never knew we could learn, the ideas we never knew we could have. It basically accelerates the discovery of the potential that's just lying dormant inside all of us.
So all of this leads to a really critical moment. This incredibly powerful technology is here, the popcorn is definitely popping, but the final outcome, well, it's not set in stone. The kind of future we get with AI depends entirely on a choice that we are all making right now. There's this fascinating concept called narrative economics. And the basic idea is that the stories we tell ourselves about the world actually end up shaping our reality. The narratives we choose to believe, whether they're about fear or about opportunity, they're what drive the decisions we make and ultimately the systems we build. And that brings us to this choice between two incredibly powerful stories. If the story we tell is AI will replace us, then we're going to be driven by fear and will design systems based on control and surveillance. But if we choose the story that AI will release us, we'll be driven by potential. We'll design mindful systems that act as our mentors and companions, freeing us up to be more creative, more curious, and frankly, more human. In the end, it's that simple. The narrative we collectively embrace becomes the reality we live in. The choice between a future of replacement and a future of release isn't really up to the technology. It's up to us. And it all starts with the stories we choose to believe and the stories we choose to share. So, the question is, what story will you tell?